What's up? The music is playing. Did it end? Did it loop already? No, it didn't. Here we are. Son, what? Weren't you streaming? What? Welcome. Good evening. I hope it went well. I was watching. Yeah. I saw. It's over. Good show. I have like 40 seconds of music. We can wait for the music to finish. No, I just want to die. Anyway, welcome. I love Sultan. What is it? Sacrifice. The second part, Kino. Thank you. That was 10 out of 10 stream. Thanks. Anyway. Also, why is the music so low in volume? Anyway, too many questions. Doesn't matter. Wait. Shh. Okay. I was like, it was on to loop. No, it didn't. We are so back. So, what's up? It just wants to be epic in the distance. Yeah. Music appreciation. What a keynote thing. Anyway, I don't know. What's this? Where? I don't know what to say. Good evening. Yes, I have like a million things to say. That's the reality. That's the beautiful, sad reality of this. There are too many things to say, and it gets complicated to really find where to go. What's up? Yesterday I should have streamed. I didn't. It was too late. Yeah. Yesterday something happened before I was capable of streaming, so we didn't even have a bar. Also, it's so fucking over, man. Anyway, here we are today at the very least. I don't know why. I think I know kind of why. Yeah, I know why I started streaming now in the evenings. At the very least, here we are. That's all I can say. Yeah, I am still trying to figure stuff out. I don't know. This is entertaining, but I haven't thinking. I that certain activity called thinking. I have taken an interest on it. It seems. I did it. I tried it, and it was so good, man. Anyway, I did say it. I think last time the stream before the last one, something like that. I mentioned I will start to have like a lot of free time. This thing of going to an educational establishment, but not getting every single hour of my day sucked on that is amazing. Am I tired? I'm not tired. I might be tired. I might be. I'm not going to lie, but I shouldn't sleep. I have an issue. I took a nap the other day, and after the nap, I felt like completely restored, so I couldn't sleep the whole night. Yeah, it felt pretty much like I don't know. Okay. The example is you go to sleep and you don't realize it's a completely RNG process. You go to sleep and you throw the eyes and you feel what's up when you go to sleep, but there is a minimal like 10% chance or like I think it's like 1% chance of you somehow hitting jackpot, and instead of getting, I don't know, 2 hours of sleep or rest because you slept for 2 hours, I got like 10 hours of rest. And so didn't have I didn't have the necessity to sleep the whole night. So yeah, a nap is indeed a double-edged sword. Even more also when you like go to sleep, go to take a nap, and wake up completely lost. But they are useful. So yeah, that happened. And after that happened, when I did go to sleep the other day, or like, I don't know, 36 hours afterwards, something like that, um, I was like, holy shit, I might be tired. And so I have like a, I don't know, uh, drowsiness one debuff applied on me right now. But it doesn't matter. It isn't that terminal. So we are fine with that. Anyway, it's fine. Don't worry. But yeah, probably that explains my voice. That you can take that as an excuse. That's the true reasoning behind everything. That's the best excuse I can come up with. Anyway, so what's up? What was I trying to say before? Something along the lines of thinking. I remember, and I said I went, spent some time thinking, and I realized I will have like too much free time. So I think I can finally, instead of last year where I think also that was very funny. I didn't have any practice at all going back into the educational system and whatnot, so that was incredibly tiresome. But now we are here, and now it seems like I have been capable of properly organizing myself a little bit more. It just takes a little bit of conscious effort to try and see what do you want to actually do, and properly get everything in order so that you can do the things that you wish to do in a proper manner. But if you don't try to force it, it just doesn't happen. So yeah, here we are right now. We are so back umphy. That's the title. That's the real title. What the fuck is the title of the stream? Diversions and Vtubing. Yeah, that's wrong. But basically, I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm maybe I'm losing it. That's what I can say. Anyway, the point of today was I had an idea. I realized something. I said it last time, or kind of, yeah. I arrived at that conclusion last time. I said something that made me realize something else, and that was very fun. So shut the fuck up, man. I won't say anything. First, I have to copy the link and I have to paste it. I have a Discord. I should be a responsible person and use the Discord to notify people. So give me a second. But trying to follow the line, I realized something along the lines of we as human beings, let's say, opening line, we as human beings have things that we need to, okay, that's like the main premise, main initial statement. We have things that we have to do, nothing new. So what's the point of that? What's that thing? The human has too many activities, and there is something funny when you consider that you have, I guess, nowadays the possibility of doing so many things that feel rewarding. You tend to lose yourself too much in the pleasure of, at least I guess, if we need a proper framing, I don't know. I don't think it's useful to only say I So yeah, assume that I am only talking about myself if it sounds too weird, but in general, what I have found out is the human has too many possibilities of things to do that they need to be doing, while at the same time, the different actions and pathways of activities that any kind of human might take in the present day has such a big arrangement of things that might happen that it is possible to find multiple fulfilling things. And the funny thing with this realization or with this reality is that you can be doing multiple useful things by which you will be feeling nice, but still you want to be doing something that is compared to everything else as useful, simply because the metric of the pleasure that you feel when you do some of those other satisfactory things is higher than the one that you will be feeling in those more in the final stage when they are completed, so to speak, rewarding actions. Let's say in the pyramid of activities of all nice things that you can do, you can feel, or yeah, you can think by yourself. You can realize maybe I need to work out, and maybe I need to walk my dog, take my dog to the park so that it has a little bit of contact with the exterior, And in a way, we have to become some capable of acting towards these different ideas and whatnot that it ends up becoming something more useful to simply avoid doing. In this case, assuming I need to work out, I need to take care of my physical health, but at the same time, I also need to take care of this other animal which depends on me. So, I might frame it in a certain way that it makes it sound like I am caring mostly for the other animal. I am being a consciously good person. I am doing something good, intrinsically good. I can see that both of those things are good, but I am trying to act on something that might be potentially better because I can only assume that what I will be doing is as useful as the other action, when in reality, what seems to be happening is, I found out, is we tend to simply avoid a proper analysis of any kind of subject in that sense. We don't truly stop to ponder in a more complete manner if what we are going to do is in the moment the most right way of acting or not. We are only taking the path of less resistance, so to speak. We have a tendency towards being not, in a manner, not inactive, but avoidant of the more necessary actions, because we can justify more. We can, it should be a good word for this instance. We can rationalize a lot more. Also, yeah, rationalize. If I say it, okay, thank you. I guess that's the correct spelling, because if the subtitles pick up the word, it's fine. Rationalize. We can do that action. We can think in a way in which it seems to be the rational thing to do. The actions that we need to take, so that we end up justifying something that seems to be good, not in the same level, but at the very least good, so that we can avoid doing more complex things. And this isn't in a manner something bad if it were to happen in the void. But I think I was trying to say it in a general way because I found that in my case, being here is good. Being here is something good. The possibility of talking is nice. The capacity to be free and say whatever I feel like doing so is something nice, and it's something highly enjoyable because it feels nice to do that. And in comparison, I don't know, just playing something doesn't feel or gives any kind of reward compared to this instance, because certainly the amount of things that you can do to find satisfaction when you are just involved in the process of stopping and playing something won't in any manner be, at the very least in my case, uh, capable of leading to a reward as the capacity of simply by your own means with the tools that you are already given, simply thinking. It's a more rewarding action to do that. But at the very same time, it isn't as something nice as to simply think than to try and make it something that someone else can also take advantage of, so to speak. Um, in different degrees, something like this can be said is even better. Uh, I could stay the point, or the best direct example would be I could literally go sit on my bed and think. If I want to think, I can do that. I don't need to do it here. If the point is to simply think, I can find a more quote unquote um, optimal way. I guess also because certainly, not that it doesn't happen. I would be using different tools to do it. More of a personal experience will allow for a faster way to reach conclusions instead of sitting here and having to explain the ideas and whatnot. So it will be said that if the goal was simply to reach conclusions, I could be capable of doing it in, in solitude. But that's not the point. In this case, the goal is also to try and say something that anyone else who might be interested in hearing might find useful. And that's where I found the issue. We are staying here. We are staying on this level too much. I have already said too many times. And I think I finally start to understand why, in a manner, it has been such a difficult task. Not only for me, as for so many people. Writing something is useful, but you don't truly find a reason to do it. If we can continue to do stuff of this sort, the final example that I wanted to mention was any kind of entertainment creation of this type will be seen by the mind as something more rewarding because it's instantaneous type of feedback that you get, and the different ways in which you seem to realize that the things that you do seem to have any kind of impact than if you were to sit down and properly take the time to create a whole text about the things that you care about in in a certain manner. I think in general that's one of the many issues. In general, in this social sciences field, it seems to be the common thing. I have found at this point too many people who has said important stuff, but we don't properly stop to write them down. There is no need to do that, supposedly. And it would be so much more wonderful if that were to happen actively and whatnot than if we were to simply continue here doing nothing. In the end, there is a final problem, I will say, of this sort of Even if it doesn't feel like that, it still is a way of entertainment. And that is, it's something fleeting, it's something that what you hear abandons your mind in a week, in a month, implying that it had a huge impact on you. It abandons your mind in a year. Even if you think that you remember what you heard once, what you remember at that point after years of revisiting the same memories should obviously be not the memory itself, but a reconstruction of the memory that you made. So it shouldn't be surprising to be here and say, yeah, you know what we are doing isn't going to be in any way surprising, isn't going to be something that we had the potential of enjoying by itself. What we have at this point is something that doesn't create anything else of true substance, so to speak. The point is, in that case, I say substance, trying to refer to what you get when you write something down is so much more important than what you just say. The capacity to at the very least refer yourself to the text allows you so much more than to simply sit here and keep speaking. Yet the tendency towards avoiding that sort of labor is so much present in this world because the patterns in which everyone seems to accept the abandonment of anything that is written leads to those consequences in general. It sounds too much simply like, oh yeah, the system is the problem. No, certainly the individual is problematic also. It shouldn't happen that the person realizes because it tries to do something that the system is wrong, therefore I cannot do anything to change it. It's something along the lines, the acceptance of said system is what leads to that. The way in which we integrate ourselves to that is the issue. And in the end, I yeah, there is another conclusion, but I think I need to simply keep developing the idea. I cannot reach the conclusion so far. It takes some time to properly get to the point. If I if I were to reach the conclusion so fast, it will simply sound bad. But let me try to frame it in. So far, I already said like a fucking lot. We have responsibilities, hierarchy of things that you need to do, you should do, you know that you should be trying to do, but you keep avoiding. The capacity of rationalizing the different actions and the different things that you should be trying to involve yourself in doing, because you know that all of them are going to be beneficial at some point or another, and to justify the preference that you have over some things which are, in the end, not as impactful as others, simply due to how in the moment you feel, and also how this is such a normalized thing. I At this point, I I feel like yeah, sorry. And final thing, final addition to this whole construct, there is also this idea of, sadly, we have accepted also that it should be fine for you to avoid it. It's something that you shouldn't be worrying about. You shouldn't try to spend your time thinking about things. You should simply keep doing what you feel is nice. Because the act of contemplation by itself is something that many times gets condemned, as it is assumed that the average person isn't capable of doing it. So, the whole way in which we have integrated with society allows the individual to disavow from themselves the responsibility that is to keep on reminding or keep on analyzing which actions are we actively taking. And it is the surrender towards this very same construct that is the rest of the world, so to speak, that ends up leading to this continuous loss. It, it, it should be, I think it's uh, literacy. One of the many ideas, you create a text and you leave some blanks in the text. The point for those blanks being there is that the reader should also be capable of understanding what you're meaning. This is important because it's really an obvious conclusion. Uh, what I am trying to say when I express this continuous error and whatnot should be obviously that people can, if they are interested enough in doing so, change their behavior in any way and be capable of fixing their mistakes, not continuing and simply you have already surrendered to the system, you will never be capable of fixing it. No, the goal is to show simply that it can be in any way worked, but the conclusion also isn't exactly towards that. It's something different. So yeah, continue with the point. Anyway, due to all of these things, and mostly certainly because of this last idea of we have different goals and we have different nice things to do. One issue arises, and that is certainly we are interested in doing things that feel nice. We are interested in doing things that feel in any way useful. But when we accept that we want to do something like that, and we do not dedicate as much time into thinking what do we actually want to do, we end up reaching a point in which we are in a loop of very simple actions and not as useful things. It's, I think the proper term will be something along the lines of we get complacent too much with what we are doing. The, the capacity to convince oneself that what you are doing is right is so big, because if you were to realize that you are doing something wrong, you will need to deal with too many realizations that are connected to that. In a sense, it should be an obvious idea that it's a common general idea of in any kind of thing that you read in that field. You cannot talk about the problems that the person has because you can't directly point them towards the issues that they have. It should be a logical path that you follow by yourself, and it's something that you slowly realize. Because if you're directly confronted instantaneously by the issues that you possess, you end up crumbling down because in the moment that you have the complete revelation of what all the problems are, if you weren't properly following the path before that, you end up reaching only the negative side of the conclusion, and you end up only having the weight of the problem, not the counterweight of having at the very least already tried to spend a second thinking about anything else that relates to the possible solutions that counter said problem. In this case, that's like a very long paragraph, I guess. In this case, I say all of that shit because I'm trying to say, and too many people want to do stuff of that sort, and too many people want to do things that feel nice. They don't stop to think everything else. They just find something that feels nice for 1 second, and from there continue in a completely mindless way. You could be doing so much more efficiently useful actions if you were to reorient accordingly every so often, but it's a painful process because you will need to realize that there is something wrong with what you're actually doing, and this leads now. I think now I can start to say it. This has led as a consequence to in this field. Where are we standing? Because I'm not saying it as an overly general yeah, an over generalization. That's literally the term. I'm not saying it as every single person does that. No, something wonderful that I have seen is people here, particularly where are we standing, Twitch? What do we have next to us? What literally? What am I besides being just a potato? Yeah, thank you for the obvious uh, notation. Besides that, what's the concept behind that? The faltering idea, Vtubing. What's the issue? Too many people who participate in the activity of Vtubing seem to be interested in doing something nice, and that's sort of the final conclusion. There is too much allowance for the first thing that you see that might be useful to be accepted as the final thing that you will dedicate the rest of your existence in trying to do. It isn't something that you just do as entertainment. It shouldn't be something that you just do as entertainment. But too many people get complacent with that conclusion and never move towards anywhere else, even if, or even more so, in the cases in which they utilize the argument of, and I am trying to do something nice. You are defeating the purpose of doing something nice the moment in which you abandon the reality of, I have the obligation to constantly observe if my actions could be improved to ensure that the final conclusion is as nicest as it can be. Not because I am overly demanding, but because I am capable of accepting that, like every single other person, I can give it more because it is inside of me to do so, so that what we reach is even better. That's the issue. And I have observed that that's now kind of saying it more concisely. There are too many iterations of people who with different tools say, I want to do something nice, and stay just on the door of what could be useful, what could be in any way potentially amazing. There is, I wouldn't say a lack of imagination. If I had to make a tiny note on that, imagination isn't something that you have or not. It's more a sort of muscle. So you can only imagine even better things the more you can keep on trying to imagine stuff. It doesn't happen that one day you just wake up and have the most profound revelation of your life, and never again you will have anything else to think about. No, imagination is something that you get by continuously imagining stuff. It should be a logical conclusion. But anyway, the point was, it's overly accepted that people stays on the mere doorsteps of what they can imagine as nice. Even more in a field like this one. I have found at this point I have seen too many people who says that they want to do something nice, but doesn't realize that they could be trying even harder. Not because I hope I said it before. I'm pretty sure I already said it here. The point isn't because suffering and suffering equals success. No, that's not the point. The the goal is more aligned with the idea of, because it's a possibility that you can be doing even more work towards an even better conclusion. It should be no thing to get surprised over, to see that maybe there are better actions that you can be taking. Yet we stand here in too many cases, in too many ways, having people who has a desire to do something well and completely abandons that idea after they found already one formula that seems to work. Because once again, the satisfaction that you get from the things that you know will do good is higher than the one that you might possibly find after doing something that you have no way of knowing if it will be nice or not. So we end up here in this place now having so many issues of and people want stuff to happen, but we don't have truly everything properly in order to do so. We don't have enough things in order to get what the final goal is. The issue, that's kind of the final point of how far I have thought at this point. Um, I realized the, okay, how do we fix that? Besides saying, yeah, you should reanalyze and what is it? Reorient yourself in order to reconstitute an even better conclusion. Fine. The problem ends up being that after that, what happens with everything else that already existed? I don't know. Eh, and in my case, I moving on from generalizations onto something more specific. I said all of this, I realized all of that, and I ended up reaching that it should be an obvious conclusion then, once you understand that idea, that this is satisfactory, being here is satisfactory, but it might be even more useful and satisfactory if I were to finally write something instead of fucking just stuck here every single day. I already said, I already explained why there should be a difference between those things. The problem is how to properly engage in such an action requires, I guess, too much pain from the perspective of the person and commitment. And also, yeah, it should be like an implied question. Are you truly interested in doing something that feels rewarding to that degree? Because the moment in which you have to reorient, you're also realizing that what you have assessed as useful might as well have been wrong. So what you said before was in some manner incorrect, or what you thought before was in some way incorrect. So if you accept that you were wrong, you're going to deal with the friction of the personal constitutory parts of the self, so to speak, that end up leading to the conflict of, am I truly taking a better direction by doing something that is even more complicated? I have the rewards ensured on this piece of action. I can keep doing this thing instead of lying to myself and promising to me, to a future self, not even to my current self, to my future self, that something might get better. So, should I truly be trying to do something even higher? Should I truly be interested in aiming in a different direction? Shouldn't it be a more obvious conclusion that I should simply stay in what I have already gained experienced in and observed as a useful action, instead of putting everything on the line and bringing so many risk factors into what I do? Should I truly commit to a different path? And I guess that's sort of from where everything else goes. Uh, that's the problem, I guess. I and now for real, that's like where I kind of stop for now. I don't have that much more thoughts about it, but I reached that point and I said, oh, holy shit, this seems to align. I have seen too many people, myself included, certainly, who say, yeah, I want to do something nice in this playfield, and like the range, the guy who says, stop, we are going in the wrong direction. Yeah, we are going in the wrong direction. The moment in which you get complacent with these things, you fail. Uh, that's like too harsh of a conclusion, so maybe not that way of saying it, but yeah. If you wanna do something nice, you shouldn't set for what you see as the first nice thing that might come. I guess. Give me a second. I will drink some water and I will make up an example. Okay, I think I have something. I What I wanted to say was, in accordance to Viktor Franklin idea, there is an issue. When you set a goal, you will always get worse results. When you average every single action that you took in your life, every single time that you set your eye on something, your results were averagely worse than what you were interested in getting. Ex- Excluding the exceptions to the norm, every single other time you will get worse results. So it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be setting any kind of goal. It's just because you know that what you will get won't be as nice doesn't allow you to completely give up on existence itself, so to speak. The point is more along the lines of, if what we want to do is something nice, but we realize that in the final stage of the action, what we will reach won't be as useful as we thought. If we still possess the capacity to keep thinking out the stuff that we want to accomplish, it should then be a continuously effort that we do ourselves, the one of reorienting towards an even better conclusion. Because if every single time that you do something, the results that you get, the place that you were aiming, end up being higher than the place that you reach with your actions, it should be obvious that in something like the efforts of what you call your life goal should be aiming ever so higher, should be always be fixing themselves to keep being bigger, because not that you need to be completely lost in delusions. You need to accept the fact that it will happen unavoidably, that what you will end up doing once you have died, so to speak, won't be as impactful as what you thought on your mind. So, at the very least, you can keep on correcting so that the final conclusion is always better, not based on the present, which you already saw as useful, but on the future, which holds the promise of something nicer as long as you keep aiming even higher. That's the way in which I think it might be possible to fix the issue, but at the same time, I don't know. I guess obviously that at this point I'm asking for like too much. It shouldn't be any kind of new idea to say that, yeah, if you have to tell people that they should always be dreaming even bigger things, that's like a fucking lot, man. It isn't anything new, but yeah, I think that's how the problem might in any way be tackled. But yeah, I don't know. That's what occupied my mind yesterday, I think. So yeah, I spent some time in that one thought. I guess, and I don't know. From there on, like the consequence of thinking this is, I don't know. I think, yeah, certainly it's useful. At the end of the day, I don't like to talk about it because it is certainly it feels wrong to disclose what you want to accomplish with other people. Not because, oh no, I can't know what I want. No, because, and that is already proven. The moment in which you share your goal with someone else and they say that you might be capable of achieving it, you get satisfaction already, and you get in. I haven't fully understood why, but just mentioning that you want to do something to other people and getting a positive feedback gives you in some way enough of a reward so that you don't feel as motivated to accomplish the goal. So that's why I have such a fucking problem here saying, yeah, I want to do this or I want to do that, but trying to not leave the blank with just an explanation. I always wanted to do something useful, and I was thinking that being here was useful, but in the end, it isn't that it isn't useful. It is that this one action is nice, but it could still be better. The final goal is to do something nice, and this is already nice. It can be even better. Now that one has gotten accustomed to this, it should be the obvious conclusion that it should be improved. And obviously, only being capable of that whole story, you can only do so much with the things that you have, and you can only be capable of achieving so many things with all the conditions that you were born in and given and whatnot. Yeah, but getting accustomed to stuff also makes you realize, and now I can move forward, and now I can improve the formula, so to speak. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say it. I guess it just was a way to confirm maybe I should write something. Personally speaking, I I don't know. I mean, also being honest, that has been like the biggest problem. I don't want to do it personally. I hate the idea of people saying, "Wow, this person wrote something nice." I no, I don't need you to tell me that. I hate. Personally speaking, I hate compliments. I fucking hate when people say, "Wow, nice, you did something nice." No, man, I did what I could. If you see it as nice, thank you. But you're not so obliged to tell me that I did something nice. So I don't want to write something and have to hear people say, "Wow, this person did something." No, man, shut the fuck up. I did something. I don't care what do you see it as. I just did something. So that's why personal friction. I never want to write something with my name on it. I have been thinking so much ways in which I can make it happen so that I don't need to be involved directly with it myself. I don't need to have not that I don't care. Also, that's uh, I guess in internal struggle, in internal discussion. Is it because you're avoiding accountability? No, man. Not because I want to write something lead people to depression, make them kill themselves, and leave them with that completely negative view of the world without ever being responsible for that. No, I don't want, and I don't want anyone to say shit about what I made being good. If you can create something nice, you already know that, man. Not in a pedantic manner of, oh wow, yeah, I'm the best writer ever. No, I am like in the edge of being incapable of operating in society. I'm in no way somebody smart, but what I know is that there are certain things that can be said that in some way can create an impact, that can motivate a ripple effect in some direction. The issue is I don't need people to look at me. I need people to look at what's the point. That's that's always the thing. That's the same. I already talked about it before. That's the same discussion as to why are things the way they are right now here. Because I don't need people to look at me. I need people to look at everything else. And not that I do. That can be thought about the things said. You know? That's what matters. Not personally getting stuff. That's meaningless. But yeah, I don't know. That has been like an hour already of me of therapeutic. Uh, it has a different way of being said. I think it's like voluntary in therapy, in not, yeah, not psychotherapy. In psychoanalysis there is this concept of voluntary clinical or clinic, not clinical. Clinical is the diagnosis. Clinic, as in something that happens inside of the clinic, inside of the room. Clinic, uh, schizophrenia. It's very much the same thing here. It's me forcing the ideas down the brain of the listener, you know. So that has been an hour of that already. Now, issue. On the other hand, I feel fulfilled. I said my piece. I I don't have that much more to say. So I don't know. Let me let me make up something else to say. Give me like, I don't know, 1 second to think. Probably that's the best conclusion that I can end that on. That I need time to see. After having reached destination one, where can we go with destination two? If you wanna hit it in a different, what is it? In a different field or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I guess, yeah. Just to mention something, I guess it should be like an obvious conclusion that probably I should be more present here. I shouldn't be as absent. It is part of an even nicer future that I try to be more consistent. That's like an obvious thing. I will actively be trying to be more present. Issue is also, even if consistency is useful, inconsistency inside of the consistent times at which you are present makes it harder. Even more so because this is, if anything, something similar to a lecture format. So I know, or I like to know, when I have classes, because it allows me to know that the stuff is going to happen at certain points, certain days, and whatnot. So it's like a little bit annoying to end up learning that, yeah, today At some point, I will have a class, but I don't know when because my professor is incapable of telling me when I will be having a class. So yeah, I I should probably define a more exact time of existence here and whatnot. And also the same issue as before. I mentioned it, and I don't know how long ago, but I did say it. I shouldn't be trying to avoid. I don't know if that's the Freudian sleep, perhaps. I shouldn't be trying to avoid. Yeah, being live in the morning. So I should try to actively stream those days too. Instead of being so absent. And I will see anyway. That's more of a personal issue than anything else. So if I end up fixing it, we will probably be capable of being back here later on at another stage with better things and whatnot. But I did my piece. So thank you. Anyway, let me drink some water. Yeah, I mean, something that I never talked about it here. I had this discussion with a family member only. I even remember getting offered by my university out of nowhere the possibility of writing something because I told a professor I want to write something, mister, and he told me, what the fuck? Why do you want to write? And after like 20 minutes of talking out this idea and whatnot, he said, okay, you want to write? I can help you with that. I can probably help you publish something. So I will say, perhaps it ends up happening. I don't know. I should talk with people about it. I should see. I should make it happen. I mean, yeah, general stuff. No matter how much you say that you want something, if you don't consciously make efforts to make it happen, you might as well not get it in any day. So yeah, I will see when and how I end up writing something, getting it out there. Also, yeah, I was getting pretty comfortable with just writing every so often stuff on things like Twitter and whatnot, So perhaps that's not the correct way of doing things. Once again, anyway, I don't know. Uh, yeah, I feel, being honest, I feel happy after having said the thing in a different way. The first conclusion that I had was a rather uh, insulting. Being capable of expressing the whole idea more articulatedly made better. The issue is also that when such an idea takes time, you don't feel like doing so. You don't feel like expressing it, I guess. I mean, yeah, too many times it happens. I talk with people and I see they could have said something nice, but you simply are incapable of sticking to the conversation. Incapable of, I don't know, I guess sadly believing that you can say something useful, that you can actively be capable of saying something nice. So you end up just, oh wow, yeah, this first draft of the idea that I had will be what I will be giving you, and nothing else. So sadly, I tend to have too many interactions of that sort with people. I Yeah, I was thinking about it earlier. I remember I don't even know how we ended up talking with a friend, grandiose assumption, with a guy who I talk about stuff with, and he asked me, what do you wanna do? And at the very least, I could tell him, yeah, I wanna do something useful, And he was like, yeah, I don't know. What do you mean? I don't know. That's a non-response, man. Do you not have any idea? Do you not have any goal? But that's what I don't know. People seems to be so unwilling to talk nowadays. So it's better to not push and whatnot. It's easier to not push. And after all, I mean, there is this whole concept, more as in this general notion, way in which we believe stuff of you shouldn't be pushing people to talk about the things that they might need to talk about because they might not be ready to do so. And I even remember hearing somebody say the complete opposite of you're a you are going to be a professional, even more in the field of talking things with people. You should be more than willing to push people to talk about this stuff. If you're completely incapable of doing so, you're doing something wrong. You're literally there to stimulate the discussion of things. You cannot lack the interest in doing so. You are not fulfilling your role when you abandon the position of somebody who might as well, at the very least, show the other person that you're interested in hearing anything nice. So, after that, it wasn't a discussion. It was just a monologue that somebody was having. Yeah, I understand. It it do be different in reality, but it's better to say to go in line or to fall in line with this whole way of seeing things. Of oh no, maybe he wasn't ready. I don't have to take the blame of not acting. I don't have to be the person who feels any kind of pressure because I could have at the very least tried to help the person say things better. I didn't understand what they meant myself. Even that's the wonderful part of that I didn't understand what he meant when he said I don't know. I could have tried to ask, but no, you know what? I will say, okay, man, your explanation satisfies my curiosity. No, it doesn't. What am I? A fucking retired man? After you give me the most boring answer, I am satisfied? No, man. That's why we are fucking young, because we can keep finding ways of keeping ourselves interested in stuff, because we can find how to keep things going when you think that others would have given up so much earlier, because you have that conscious capacity to play a role in what you are doing and what you are hearing so that it feels in any way nice, not just because it can have an explanation, and so you deserve to try and at the very least give it one, you know. But it's less annoying. That's the proper expression. It's less annoying to give it a proper structure and to give it a proper answer and to have a complete discussion. After all, I mean, that's still the same point always and always here. We still use discussion wrong, and I am so tired every single day that I have to hear somebody say discussion in a negative manner. I want to fucking kill myself. Oh no, you cannot say it. Yeah, man, I'm sorry. I don't like to hear people be stupid on purpose almost. You can educate yourself at the very least. You can stop for a second to consider if what you're saying might be wrong. I'm not saying that you are directly wrong, that you are directly doing something bad, but you can try to consider what you're saying before saying so, you know? and you can then maybe try to see that what words you're using have a meaning, and that you're not discussing things just because you're angry with the other person, because there is something to reach, there is a conclusion that might exist, which is only capable of being found out after discussing the main point of the conversation. The discussion is only one person on one side stating something and the other one stating something different that clashes the idea. It isn't a physical clash, it isn't a physical problem, it isn't an altercade that kills somebody. It's just the act of talking. This the discussion, you can frame it inside of the scientific way, or the scientific term of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. You can have a synthesis without a discussion of the thesis and the antithesis before. You need to have both things existing, and you need to force them to reach that synthesis that feels better. But anyway, that's at that point that's more of a personal note. So yeah, I I guess I'm kind of happy now that I was capable of saying it in a better way. I like it because I am angry constantly about people saying, yeah, I don't like discussions. I don't like people yelling either, man. But a discussion isn't people yelling. A discussion isn't a, I don't know, a, you picture two monkeys throwing shit at each other when you say discussion. That's not a discussion. But yeah. Um, do I have anything else to say? I don't think so. You know what? And I mean, okay. I have something. I'm just thinking to myself that stuff, but it makes sense. I It's always a struggle to continue with anything else after one idea is concluded, because the point is not to say a million things here. I I can only the issue of English not being my main language, and certainly not being somebody who I wouldn't say so, but at the very least not being capable of constructing concise and succinct sentences makes it that I end up saying too many things to express one idea. So it feels bad that when I'm done, I might want to continue with something else. And it will take us another fucking hour. I don't want, not that I don't want personally to do it. Right now I have the time to do it. The issue is, if you're listening to me, it's probably fucking tiring. That's the reality. And even more, I mean, I don't know. If I had to hear somebody who speaks like I do, I can only probably justify it behind the excuse of, because it is my own voice and whatnot, I could probably find a way to make it happen that I can try to listen to what I talk about here and see. Because I'm pretty sure, as somebody who has taken a liking to listening to other people, the moment in which I can find a video that seems interesting and I can speed up what they are saying, I end up at like 2.5. I'm pretty sure stuff like this one I won't be capable of doing it. There is no way in which I can understand somebody like me going so fast, I'm pretty sure. So that's why also I can only say sorry to the people who has to hear me for 3 hours speaking. Also, thankfully enough, it doesn't happen that much, It, it's it's not a common thing that I am talking every single day here. It's it's not that common that I sit here and just to go with the flow and whatever. But I don't know. It probably on a deeper level, just an excuse. Just I said it before. Just another way to rationalize the oh yeah, I'm doing something nice. So if I wanna keep doing something nice, I might want to end it here. I don't wanna go for 5 hours. I don't wanna go for 12 hours. I don't wanna tire you out with what I'm saying. I don't know, man. I the teachers who say something nice from an external perspective, the teachers who I have that say something nice, I will listen them to and their ideas for as long as they are willing to fucking speak. For every single thing that they have knowledge on, I will love some of the people who have written books to have written so much fucking more, yet they didn't. And I have to deal with that fucking suffering myself. So yeah, on the other hand of the spectrum, it is insulting to say, oh yeah, you know what, I yeah, I can't keep going. I can't say more. It might be too much. No, man. Even if it is too much right now, there is something virtuous about the present day. You're watching a video. You can pause the video, take a break, and return to the video later on. If there is something that might be useful to say, you just say it. You don't stop for 5 years to say it when it's a better time. If it's useful, it is useful now and it will be useful later on. And not that, oh wow, it will be more useful. No, man. You made it more useful because you waited for things to get even in a worse position. That's what you did. And that's why it seems useful. Not because it became more valuable. It just became more needed. But I don't know. Also, hello, Shin Machine. Shene Machine. Or Sheni Machine. Machine. That's it. Good evening. Here we are. Here I am. I don't know. Have a nice evening. Have a nice Sunday. Have a nice break. Shin Machine. Guitar riff, rhythm, 5 minute. Kino. What the fuck? Yeah, besides these dogs, which are going crazy, just now, everything was fine. I uh, just like the silence that you don't realize you have it until you don't. We were on silence for the whole stream. There was literally no sound for the whole stream, but timing, I guess. So don't worry. Anyway, everything is well. So yeah, it has been so far a wonderful Sunday. I don't know. It feels like this is like the fourth Sunday I have this week because it has been such a fucking long week since it had so many free days. Also, somebody said something about yeah, the rest of the world doesn't take breaks like we do here. So that's a fucking sad thing. It was May 1st. People should have gotten a break. Also, it's May 4th today. Yeah, is it? Is it May 4th? Holy shit! May 4th be with you. Anyway. Anyway. May the 4th. That's the proper expression. Wanted to say lacks English. Can we kill him? No. But yeah, too many breaks. I guess I don't know. I mean, I have that's something. That's certainly something. Too many breaks. There are too many things to do still, even if it is break day. So I don't know. It's just finding something that feels nice, I guess. Is thinking an art? Question mark? I don't think so. But I was going to say just like an artist has to practice their art every single day if they want to get good. So there isn't really a break. Thinking also requires a lot of thinking. So even today it isn't really a break day, or it shouldn't be a break day. At the same time, no, I don't think it's appropriate to say that real art is, well, I mean, both art and, or if I wanna be honest, art can only come because you're capable of thinking about this stuff. By Lord Tupo, yeah. That's. Wait, I can allow this message or I can deny it. Should I allow it? You know what? Can we Chin. I recommend you this. There you go. Anyway, yes, baby, thank you. Also, it has like a weird inverted comma. What the fuck? How? I have like 400 for most words of the normal English language. For most of the average words, you have literally, yeah. No, I mean, I tried to, so. But that's the fun. That's the fun. People don't get how funny it is to not be capable of reading shit. You enter the chat and you see fucking symbols. Maybe that's semiotics. That's the meaning of semiotics. That's why it's so important. It all makes sense. It was an unconscious decision. Informed by my classes of semiotics. Thank you. It makes sense now, finally. After like 4 months of adding so many emotes, now I have an explanation as to why it felt so funny. Because every symbol represents something besides the symbol. It's a, what is it? Quasi sign. Thank you, Espinosa. It isn't Espinosa. I don't remember the guy. But yeah. Anyway. Thank you, Pierce. That guy. Anyway. I don't know. Was I saying something before? Probably not. Am I saying anything any day? No, probably not. That's the reality. I mean, that's kind of a problem of a speech, you know, that you don't really say anything. Nobody says truly that much. Even what we consider valuable isn't valuable, so there is never something to say. There is only the idea that what you are saying is important, but that's more like more of a personal attribution of a desire to identify what you are saying with a value. But even that is not valuable, you know. Even then, you're not creating something meaningful. You're just imposing your will, the will to impose, the will to power. It makes sense. But no, I'm somebody killed this guy. He's getting schizophrenic now. I don't know. Um, I probably should continue on that line. I mean, it's a funny thought. It's completely wrong, but it's funny. The problem that's and uh, what's based on the Temple OS guy. What I'm going to say is important. Pay attention. Uh, Sometimes the jokes that we make are completely not ignored, are completely not filtered as jokes, perceived as jokes by people. So it ends up being problematic that you follow something that is completely exposing because the other person doesn't understand it. I mean, certainly, and sadly even more. Somebody like Shin Machine is like the main example. Somebody like that guy makes 20 jokes. People don't understand that it is a joke, and that and it ends up being a problem later on. So it's fucking over. But the point is, if we make jokes, why not go completely until the end with them? Probably because it's risky. No, probably because it leads to negative conclusions. People assume too many things. Once they don't understand that what you are saying is a joke, so they assume that you are serious. Somebody might assume that I am seriously saying, you know what matters here in this context is, I don't know, that nothing is important, that no idea has any value, that nothing being said ever has any kind of significance. No, that it's the complete opposite. But out of nowhere, people cries because you say something that should be obviously understood as a joke. We cannot have that. We cannot have that. Potatoes, see you later. 2 point. What the fuck? 2 point? Are you insulting me, man? I'm going to fucking kill you. Anyway, goodbye. Have a nice evening. Have a nice weekend. Have a nice life, Jim. Do something fulfilling. I hope your potatoes are nice. Thank you. Thank you for everything, my friend. But yeah, have a good one. 07 soldier. Yeah, that's certainly a topic. That's certainly a topic. I don't like to talk about it, but at the very same time, I don't have anything else to say. So let me just start with my personal hate for people who imitate others. My complete aberration towards those people. What a wonderful thing. I mean, it makes sense. You will just we just want to feed the desire to be part of something that leads you to imitate, even if in the most simplistic way, what other people are doing, what other people show to be acceptable. Because if they are capable of doing that one thing, you might as well be also seen as somebody who isn't in the wrong for doing it. So we tend to imitate too many things. The problem is, I don't like it when people does it. There is a discreet way of doing it, and there is a more direct way of directly showing that you're taking complete, not inspiration, you are copying what somebody else is doing. So that at that point, I don't like it, I guess, but once again, it has a functionality. It isn't like, oh wow, there is no point in copying. Why the fuck are you doing it? No, man. It's one of the most understandable things to happen. It's also. What the fuck was the encoding overloading? Do I have something open? I don't have literally anything open. What the fuck is the problem? We are lagging. Why are we lagging? Let me. You know what? Fuck the captions. No more captions for today. Nobody fucking reads them anyway, and even when they do, they are wrong. So it doesn't matter what they say. Listen to me. Listen to me. Give me a second. I have an idea. What the fuck am I doing? Okay, here we are. This is the current state of the thing. 2 copies of me because where the text should be. We cannot have that. Why? Because it doesn't work. So let me also do this. Copy paste over here and can you transform? I can't flip things. I can transform, but I cannot flip it. Ah, flip horizontal. And flip vertical, not. Okay, there we are. Wow, Kino. Anyway, here we are. Good evening. What was I saying before I realized we were lying? No idea. I forget what I say most of the time, so it doesn't matter. I mean that's probably a sad thing, you know. No matter how much you think, or in my case, no matter how much I think, I end up realizing what I will say at some point will unavoidably be repeated. Why? Not because I ran out of stuff to say, because I forgot if I already said it or not. And that's more haunting than anything else. I feel like I completely hate that. I don't know, I seem to have the fucking onset Alzheimer or something like that, but at the very least, we have some time to say stuff here. So, before that happens, and I completely forget even how to use OBS, I can keep saying things here, and I don't know. At least it isn't working as my slow descent to dementia, so we are fine, I guess. But yeah, this guy is truly running out of content, man. This is so fucking over. He doesn't know what else to say. Can somebody kill him already? Probably. I don't know. I like it because I know about personal stuff, so it ends up being weird when I do so. It's like such a constant thing that I don't mention anything real. That when I do it, I feel weird about it. So I end up being in this place, and it feels completely bad. But it doesn't matter. It The point was I in days like this one, it feels nice to be here because having that time is yeah. I could probably say something along those lines. Now that I think about it, having that time ends up being the main reason as to why I can really be here. On the other hand, that was also the conclusion as to why what I said before happened. In reality, having that time should be an opportunity to do the best thing that you can, but it's a common activity. I find that you settle down with the first pseudo fulfillings, minimally nice action that you can take, and to some degree, nice thing that you can do. So you just give up. But I don't know, man. It isn't as negative. It's just, yeah, I will say probably the accumulation of these events, the many times in which you do it, the degree to which it happens that ends up being bad. On the other hand, also, if anything tries to have a value, if anything tries to have a meaning, why not try? But I, I, I don't know. It's just a sort of tiresome exercise. In many times, let me say it like that. In many times, when you have to think out things, it's it's better to not do it. The act of thinking is more complicated than the act of simply avoiding it. But I don't know. It happens too much. You shouldn't. It's simply giving up. I feel like that you have something nice that you could be trying to picture. Something that's in the end. I say I don't want to think about anything complicated. But people say too many times. I don't feel like I should think out anything at all. I don't know, man. I I like not hearing that particularly. I like hearing the subsequent. And my life is in so much pain. I have so many things that I can't solve. Have you tried to once again see what you can do? I mean, if you're all thinking to such a degree, don't you think it's going to be negative? That nothing is done consciously because you see a purpose behind doing it? You don't think that's going to be bad. And it's like the common issue that happens that exists in once again in many levels. I guess it shouldn't try to be an issue, or it shouldn't feel like an issue, but it just becomes one because we have accepted that. Yeah, you feel bad for trying to think about something. It's okay, little baby. You can never again try to think. No, man. It's not like that. It's it's not like that. It's too much of an stupid solution to say, oh wow, yeah, it's hard to think. Maybe you shouldn't try it again ever. Pause. But I don't know. In kind of in a follow up of what I said before, is thinking an art? I don't know. Is it a practice? Certainly. And if it is a practice, is it something that you should be capable of understanding how to do? Certainly. The issue, we don't have people who teach us how to think, mostly because the main premise of learn how to think is bad. You learn to think by doing it yourself, and if somebody else tells you how to think, if somebody else is willing to teach other people how to think, they are doing something bad. You're imposing your own will over them. So we end up with people lost. we end up with what we have nowadays of I remember hearing it in an interview I was watching today earlier. Not interview, it was just a discussion of people who were talking for the first time. This new weird way of doing podcast of it isn't an interview, but it sort of is, but it's in the middle ground because it's too much of a compromise to say that it is an interview, so it's just people discussing things. This person said, we're not going to create a system that tells you how to think, just like every other system. You're not doing anything new. You're not doing anything new. Absolutely nothing new. But, okay, good job, I guess. At the very least, yet another tool for the works of people who have already understood stuff. Meanwhile, we will keep having the same issue as always of people who need to learn how to, in any way, picture stuff in a meaningful manner. Unresolved. Why? Because we have a free will, and free will is such an understandable concept that learning how to think becomes a subject of free will. It isn't a subject of morality, that you deserve the right to learn to how and why to think about this stuff. No. It's free will, man. We have a free will, so you are free to think whatever, and that's it. Ah, wow. We are. I don't know. At this point I am once again getting all negative, but yet another great achievement of this era. Oh wow, yeah. We should try to have scientific discovery. We should try to have greater things happen. Yes, here we are standing with our arms crossed, not trying to show people that it's necessary to think. If they want to not think, go ahead and do it. It will be only your consequences and your loss. It certainly won't affect me even more obviously when you reject the possibility of doing it. When you reject the chance or necessity of thinking something that should happen, when the consequences of your actions also impact any other thing that I do, it certainly is fine to do that. Because we cannot impose stuff, and because imposition to such a degree is bad always. So it's better to sit here and say, yeah, you know what? We will stay here in in this limbo of acceptance of everything. Not because everything is wrong, no. Because there are things that are useless to have around. I mean, I don't know. That's like a huge issue, a huge buzzword, contradiction of the present. We are so centered in productivity, yet things like that don't seem like a core issue of the present. Or, I mean, sort of. Not that we completely ignore. Yeah, that's more of a correct expression. Not that nobody tries to tell you how to think. We have allowed only people who should certainly be completely silenced to say stuff like that. Oh wow, you cannot say that people shouldn't speak. I am sorry, man. You are trying to force me to only follow your things, and you are being another buzzword, authoritarian completely in the way in which you say how I should see stuff. Yet you think that that's fine, and you think that you only possess the truth without anything, and your words are what have any kind of value. So I am therefore wrong if I try to do anything else different. And that sort of imposition is fine, but not the minimal exposition of maybe if you were to try for a second, if you had in your hands the tools to realize what is your life, what are the things that you have around you, what is a possible path that you can take in many of the things that you feel as annoying. Maybe if you had something like that, this wouldn't be such a problem. Maybe. But no. What we have in our hands right now is the complete opposite. We cannot in any other way enjoy present day of discussing this thing about people and how they think and what they think and what not. We only have more and more fucking issues. But anyway, I guess I don't know. That's how stuff works. Also, I should leave. Even if just for a second there was like a fucking lot of noise outside. So give me a second. I will see what the fuck is going on. Windows key. I didn't want to press that. What's up? Anyway, so stuff. Who doesn't like stuff? Don't you think out that, man? Who doesn't like the stuff that happens in this world? Anyway, uh, we are so comfy. I don't know. Was I saying something before? Probably. Was it important? I don't think so. It was something along the lines of me getting angry at how this whole system of teach but not teach and think but don't say how to think works. And also, yeah, I mean, the final conclusion, the only thing that I didn't say explicitly, it should be an obvious responsibility of the people who does actively think to be capable of showing how the fuck it's minimally done. Why? Because later on comes the angerness towards people who says that you shouldn't think in any particular way. People who tries to avoid the point of maybe I wanna say something, maybe I wanna tell other people how to think and what's not. Maybe I feel like this is the only correct manner in which anything can be taught. Those people are who end up having the quote unquote not credibility, just the acceptance of what they are saying, because the other people who could have in any other manner minimally shown that it's possible to not be so worried about thinking, or that thinking shouldn't be such an annoying thing to deal with, stayed silent. That's why it feels like an issue. That's why it feels like something bad. Because it's the problem of the inactivity of the people who do think. I mean, probably, and as somebody who doesn't do it that much, I understand the issue. You have to teach something directly correlated with. Yeah, I wanna think about this one thing, but how do I know that what I am thinking is in any way useful or correct, so to speak? Not in accordance with society, correct for the purpose of my activity thinking. And that takes energy that we do not want to use. But I don't know. It's the constant problem, so it's better to stay in the illusion of maybe it isn't something bad, maybe it isn't something annoying, so we are fine because we don't see it as something to lose sleep over, I guess. And yeah, the final point is the true issue, the final point of, and you know what? Because I never want to think about how to think, and I never want even less to teach somebody else. These consequences are not mine to deal with. I don't think so. It's really like an obvious thing. Any person who is clever enough is responsible for every other person who isn't good in the act of thinking, in this case. There are some activities that you can avoid, but in a world in which you are constantly required to think, it should be obvious enough that you should be trying to help others with something like that. Even if it doesn't mean that you can give them directly the tools. Once again, I don't know. This whole vision of, wow, yeah, you cannot tell me what to think about because you're being authoritarian over me, whatever. Even if that is right, assuming that it is right, at the very least, you can give me tools to not think what doesn't benefit me. Not to saying that you know what it is, but at the very least, you might know something that helps me not be in pain for thinking something bad. On a more metaphysical level, I guess, at that point, if you want a proper explanation of what I mean when I say God, or what are you saying that my political, I don't care about politics. Shut the fuck up, man. Don't twist the message. Don't twist what is being said. Don't act coy. That's the reality. Don't act coy to say, oh, wow, yeah, you're telling me, that my politics are, shut the fuck up, man. I'm not talking about that. Talking about more serious stuff, I guess, if you wanna say it like that. I'm talking about, oh yeah, you shouldn't, I don't know, the rule number one, you shouldn't try to think about a world in which you don't exist, you know? You shouldn't allow stuff of that sort. But that's, yeah. The subtitles almost made the stream crash, so they have to go. So, as a fix, we have to. But that's all I can do. Sorry. Binaural, probably. But I don't know. It's just annoying. At least from a personal perspective, it's just annoying when you see it like that. I wish it wasn't that much of a problem, and I wish it wasn't that much of an obvious thing that happened. That we keep on this same loop of, yeah, you know what? It doesn't matter what I say. You cannot be forced to think in that or this way. So, I guess, man, we still have so many problems. Probably one or two lessons. I don't know. You have 5 years old. One or two lessons on some basics, rules. I was thinking that would benefit the world for sure. But I guess, I mean, in that sense, counter argument. Certainly, we don't even know shit about in general what he's thinking. We still have to come to an agreement with stuff like, oh yeah, some people can think in images. People can think only in words. Some people are the secret choice of thinking in sounds. And you want a universal, standardized way of talking about thinking for three completely different universe about something that nobody can see, even that nobody can measure actively, that nobody can in any manner correct or check over or try to moderate. So you have the freedom of saying, oh yeah, it's too complicated, isn't it? No, man. The problems that come with a completely unregulated way of thinking don't just stop existing because you say the obvious stuff about it in general. And once again, it should be something obvious that, I don't know. I mean, you wanna make a point, you should be more bold with what you're saying. That's the reality. If we are trying to talk about anything, it should be obvious. Final conclusion should be, you wanna talk about thinking, you wanna say that nothing is wrong. Okay, do we have no more suicides? No. Then we don't have a fucking problem still. It should be obvious that we have a problem. And you're going to tell me that it's wrong to say, yeah, please pay attention. Give people a tool for fucking dealing with their mental stuff. But I don't know. Here we are. It's better to sit down and say, yeah. Thinking is my sole propriety, so I shouldn't worry about anything like that. I shouldn't be losing my sleep or those things. So yeah, I don't know. I dropped the S bomb, I guess. So that's it. From there, it's only upwards. I guess I don't have any more else to say now for real. That's like it would be funny. Thinking that I probably mentioned that, I don't know, like 10% of the streams or so, it will be funny that every single time I bring that up, I must finish a stream after saying it. It's like it's too much of a fucking concept of a complex, real life situation, not just a fucking concept. To use it so freely on one hand, on the other, it doesn't make it any less of a problem. So that we can ignore it in such a way. I don't know. I mean, that interest in making things that just don't affect you directly, an issue is always there. So it's better to say, oh wow, yeah, it's something bad, it's something that takes energy. So we might as well not be capable of dealing with it ourselves. We can escape the responsibility, and we can escape the need to mention that. That's what makes the discussion about anything of that sort so annoying. Always annoying, but I don't know. It's another excuse. We aren't going to solve it here, so we better change into something better. You know, why don't we talk about, I don't know, sports, the maximum type of entertainment? Why don't we, I don't know, talk about the last thing, the last series, the last, what is it? I think people understand the word novela, the last novela that you saw on TV. Why don't we talk about that now, man? It's still an excuse. You wanna be real? It's an issue, but it takes too much time to talk about something like that. And certainly, the individual doesn't possess the capacity to deal with the issue itself. So why bring it up at all? Why try to create any kind of consciousness out something that is bad if you are not going to solve the issue yourself? I don't know, because maybe one day you what is it? You plant a tree. You don't get the tree tomorrow. It takes a whole fucking life to grow a tree. But why do that with the idea of trying to fix something? Wrong question. Now tell me about, I don't know, what's your favorite number? Wow. But anyway, I'm getting too condescending, so it's time for this guy to shut up. I think so. So yeah, I don't know. It was nice while it lasted. Also, I hate using the Twitch dashboard. It works so bad. I cannot do shit with that. Anyway, let me see. Let me check something. I just have one tiny doubt. Is this working? Yeah, this is working. This is completely functional. Yeah. But we didn't drop any more on. I think we dropped one singular frame somehow. What? No idea how. Only one frame. What? Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm sure we dropped only one more frame. Okay. Anyways, it worked. And also, I'm so lazy. So before I forget, for next time, let me delete this stuff. Do you want to remove these two items? Yes, I do. Test. Is this working? Hit again. Best? I didn't say best. I said test. Is this working? 8 a.m. Right again. Why did it say? Anyway. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I I I will just contradict what I said today, and that's it. Okay. Let me say something that is wrong, but I was watching this guy the other day, and he, being somebody huge, didn't try it. So if he didn't do it, I certainly am exempt also from doing it. We have the exact same conditions, and I certainly know nothing about how this works. So let's assume ignorance and say, yeah, it's fine to not try it. And no, 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 I can't do that. Fucking shit. Is can anyway. Anyway, good night. That's what I wanna say. Good night. How would rest of the week? I don't know. Probably, not probably. Tomorrow I will certainly not be here in time like I was here today. Mostly because at this time I will be in school tomorrow. So please, I mean, how much of an incredibly obsessed person would you need to be? I had the idea of, oh wow, that might be docs material. Are you sure about that? How there are like, I don't know, probably 40 million people in school at the same time as me. Is that truly docs material? Are you sure about that? I don't think so. But anyway, tomorrow, no stream at this hour. If I wake up in time earlier, if I don't, I guess no. Not until the when is it? Wednesday or so? Probably. What I can do, what I could do, what I should do. I should start writing. Also, yeah, one of the few issues. I have to write in English. English isn't my main language. I have to put a lot of effort into writing in English, even if I have already written a fucking lot of text before. For some reason, it feels worse. So that's my excuse as to why the book takes so long. But yeah, one day it will exist. One day somebody will see it, and I will die of happiness. But not tomorrow. I don't know if there will be stream tomorrow. So yeah, have a nice evening. That was the point. Shut up, man. Have a nice evening. Have a nice. I was going to say Friday. Have a nice Sunday. I don't know when, but someday we will be back. And when we are, probably the next thing. If I don't get another random idea like I did today, the next thing will just be continuing what was the class about? I think it was about like I was going to say socialism. That's certainly not the topic. I have the fucking tag, but if I look at the tag, I lose. It's like it's a minimal effort, man. Sociology. That's the class. Sociology class, probably. Anyway, I am like overextending the fucking goodbye because also I can say it. Who the fuck cares about what I say? It would be funnier if there was a way for me to say, people, please leave everyone. I don't want to have to deal with the guilt of knowing that I didn't raid, but also I want to raid. So please, everybody, leave the stream. I want to. Anyway, goodbye. That's it. Have a nice one. Have a nice Saturday. Fucking shit. Have a nice Sunday.